You're viewing Tobago Updates Television, your exclusive gateway to Tobago, broadcasting the beauty of this island paradise to the world.
Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning.
Good morning, viewers, and welcome to the Tobago Updates morning show, coming to you here live from the Port Mall in Scarborough, Tobago. Yes, folks, it is Thursday, the 11th of April, 2024. As we continue on through, yes, we're into the fourth month of the year, back out from school, the first week for our students, a fabulous vacation yesterday, a public holiday here in Trinidad and Tobago. Certainly we want to take the opportunity to say thank you to each and every one of you for continuing to choose the Tobago Updates morning show. As we continue to give God thanks for life, I am Julian Skeet, and I want to say welcome to each and every one of you connecting with us across the region. All right, so at this point, viewers, we're going to be heading straight on into our news in 90 seconds.
News in 90 seconds is brought to you by Standards, never beaten on quality and prices.
Thank you, Julian. And here is your news in 90 seconds for Thursday, April 11th, 2024. Chief Secretary Fali Augustine condemned the ongoing conflict in the Middle East and called for ceasefire. He was speaking at yesterday's Eid al-Fitr celebrations. He also urged the Muslim community to actively engage in political discourse for the island's advancement. Meanwhile, Minority Leader Kelvon Morris echoed Augustine's sentiments, highlighting the importance of spiritual consciousness in addressing societal challenges like crime. He praised the nation's religious tolerance. Additionally, Senator Lawrence Hislop stressed the importance of brotherhood and respect among Trinidad and Tobago's diverse religious groups, praising the country's acceptance of one another. Finance Minister Colm Imbert announced the signing of the simplified procurement regulations into law, effective April 5, 2024. These regulations, applicable to the procurements valued up to $1 million, aim to streamline procurement processes while upholding the objectives of the Public Procurement and Disposal of Public Property Act. Published as Legal Notice 65 of 2024, which followed months of collaboration between the Finance Minister and the Office of the Procurement Regulations, OPR. The regulations introduce streamlined processes for both public bodies and the suppliers, covering micro-procurements and small-scale procurements. The Children's Authority of Trinidad and Tobago expressed deep sorrow over the tragic murder of 4-year-old Amara Lalit, condemning domestic violence as a pervasive issue affecting families throughout the nation. Director and Chief Executive Officer Sheldon Cyrus emphasized the need to recognize children as individuals deserving of care and protection and not tools for manipulation. He urged victims of domestic violence to seek help and encourage others to report such incidents. Cyrus reiterated the importance of addressing domestic violence to prevent harm to children, urging parents and caregivers to seek support during challenging times. And that was your news in 90 seconds.
Life is good with zero interest for 6 months, zero down payments, zero stress payment plan. That's right. With Standards My Terms, we are putting the power of zero in your hands. Now, you can get that new sectional, fridge, stove, or TV for zero down. Pay zero interest later and enjoy a zero stress payment plan plus quick approval within 48 hours. Standards, never beaten on quality and prices.
Yes, good morning, viewers, and welcome back. Adana, I couldn't help but that story that gave me the gentle reminder when the news broke, like most of the country, in relation to that child. I don't know, my feelings were so mixed at the time. I was upset, I would have been furious, saddened at the same time. Really cause for serious concern in our country if we can get to that point. For God's sake, somebody that called you daddy in this circumstance. I mean, really a kind of heartbreaking situation taking place there.
Definitely. And you know, as you're talking about that, my paws are raising because I'm thinking, this is a 4-year-old child. And at 4 years, you're still a baby. You know, what can trigger this type of reaction or response to whatever dispute you might have had with the mother? Like, nothing should be able to spur you into that type of action. So, you know, it's something we really need to pay attention to. We need to start figuring out ways to support persons who are living in situations that are extreme when it comes to domestic violence, and support both parents and the children as well, because anybody could become a victim, but this is the most gruesome I've heard in forever.
Definitely. And you know, it repeats the call that I have made before as a reminder to persons, even as I interact and, you know, I work with youth development and young people and in communities. Do not ignore red flags. If it is he can lift his hand to hit you once, it can happen again. If it is the verbal abuse and the threats can come once, it can happen again. And I urge you, even if it is seeking some support so as to send a clear signal, either way, because you have the struggle as well for men in situations, but because of the ego and you don't want to be embarrassed, you really don't want to go reporting that, you know, she's abusive to me kind of thing. But please seek help from very early. So if for no other reason you are both, you know, you prefer to err on the side of caution in this circumstance to ensure that this is really not something that takes place at all. I remember my dad has always told me from growing up, if he did not have to lift his hand in 50 plus years, he don't want to hear that from his son at all. Walk away if you need to in these circumstances. But the point is, seek some kind of intervention and let us not resort to these extreme circumstances. But it really speaks to a greater need in our country in terms of mental health issues, and the fact that we may probably need some even greater intervention than we are thinking, things which we have taken for granted over time. That's
right, and we definitely need to, you know, to speak up, as you were talking about red flags and the possibility of someone feeling embarrassed to report any type of or any red flags where domestic violence is concerned. What is the alternative? Feel shame for 5 seconds and put the report in and get the support, rather than wait until it's too late and then you have to report something really extreme. Correct. So let us really, you know, forget about the pride and the feeling shame or embarrassed. Just for 30 seconds to log that report to ensure that the relevant authorities can, you know, scoop in there and give you that measure of support. Save your life, save the life of your child, and save the life of someone that you might know and love.
Definitely indeed. Thank you very much there, Adana. And viewers, we're going to be heading straight on into our birthday shout outs here on Tobago Updates. And we get started this morning. Kevin O'Neill, wishing you a happy birthday, and indeed continued blessings are coming from the entire Simon family. Certainly want to wish you a happy birthday and continued blessings. Kevin is one of those easygoing, down to earth. You can meet and connect with him far and wide, but very dynamic and creative in terms of, you know, in that field, in the event industry and so on. I want to wish you the very best and continued blessings, Kevin O'Neill.
And the next, and celebrating a birthday, a belated birthday rather, is Ian Wilson. Ian Wilson, we want to wish you a very happy birthday. We pray God's blessings upon your life as you continue to live and enjoy the fullness of the blessing that God has given you. Do have a wonderful birthday from all of us here at Tobago Updates Television.
And that's,
this one,
yes, no stranger.
That's
no
right.
stranger to us here at all. Rhea Richardson George, Yes, folks, you just saw her recently. Rhea and Oswald celebrating an anniversary, and now Rhea is celebrating a birthday. And we want to say, indeed, happy birthday to you. This is a belated birthday greeting. It would have been yesterday, if my information is accurate, as part of the celebrations. And I want to say, continued blessings going out to you. Rhea is one of those very humble Christian ladies doing her thing, but certainly enjoying life to the fullest. I would leave it there, Rhea. Enjoying life to the fullest.
That's right.
In the circumstances, but really want to wish you a happy birthday and continued blessings. Certainly, the face is no stranger to us here on Tobago Updates from day one. I want to wish you the very best and continued blessings, Rhea Richardson George.
Happy birthday, Rhea. And on screen, I might be a little bit biased with this one on screen. And celebrating a birthday today, my very dear and beautiful, not only my friend, but also my relative. Yes, this is my cousin, JSL Boris Vincent. She's celebrating a birthday today. A beautiful lady, a beautiful spirit, a beautiful soul. If you know anything about her at all, we want to wish you a very happy birthday, JSL. We pray God's blessings upon your life. We pray you continue to enjoy the celebration and that you enjoy all the love that you deserve on this special day.
And I want to join in as well, because certainly I've always said I had the pleasure. Giselle is one of my very good friends, and Giselle and Gavin out there. And I want to say a happy birthday going out to you, Giselle, and to wish you God's continued blessings indeed. Really, I just have to join in with Adana. A beautiful soul indeed. One to keep closely connected. We go way back. I ain't taking away that family connection from Adana. She watching me hard here in studio. But certainly want to wish you a happy birthday, Giselle, and continued blessings.
And on screen now, I'm celebrating her 9th birthday. She celebrated rather on April 9th, her 9th birthday. So it's a golden birthday for her. This is Skylar Jack. Skylar Jack celebrated her birthday there on Tuesday 9th. And we want to wish you a very happy birthday, sweet girl. And we pray that God continues to bless you, guide you, and protect you as you grow to be a beautiful young lady. Happy birthday to you, Skylar.
All right, thank you very much there indeed, viewers. And at this point, we're preparing to head on into our rundown for this morning. And the discussions this morning, we get started with Alan Stewart, the Director for Tobago Emergency Management Agency. And we're speaking about the oil recovery update. And at this point, I know there would have been some indications and some official notifications going out there in relation to boundaries and so on as they treat directly with the ship. So we look forward to those updates. We'll also be chatting about the Mainridge Nature Explorers Go Green, celebrating 248 years as a protected forest reserve, and we look forward to those discussions with Mainridge Nature Explorers, Darlington Chance, President, and Junior Thomas, Vice President. And today we'll also be hearing from Pastor Daniel Reed of the North District SDA, and that's the Near North District presents the Call of Redemption. So we're looking forward to those upcoming discussions taking place here this morning on the Tobago Updates Morning Show. All right, viewers, and with that, just before we head on out to the break, I want to very quickly highlight some of our viewers online with us this morning. I'm seeing Julia Brown, Lavian Ashby, good morning to you. Pearl Murray Beard, one of our faithful viewers here on the Tobago Updates Morning Show. Travis Moses in the mix with us this morning. Shelly Ann Byron. Auntie Dora Lyons out there. Lisa James, good morning to each and every one of you. Russell Morrison, each and every one of you continuing to choose us a day after day. We want to say thank you. Yes, it's the day after the holiday. It's a day, it feels like the day after the weekend. It's not a Monday, folks. It's still Thursday. Yes, it's still Thursday in the mix, and we are certainly looking forward to all that the day has to offer today. And we want to take this opportunity to remind you that this is your chance to share the live, share the live, share the live. We'll be right back.
Tobagonians, you may know me as Blaze. Through my TV and radio shows, you've invited me into your lives. Now, the media's freedom to speak out on behalf of citizens, to reveal the facts fearlessly, is enshrined in our Constitution. It means we can openly demand accountability for the performance of public officers and authorities. Should your Constitution demand more too? Submit your views to constitutionalreform2024.gov.tt by the 15th of April. It's your future, it's your Constitution, and it's your voice.
You're the prize, you're the queen.
Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning.
Good morning, viewers. We're just at about 7:17 a.m. and welcome back to the Tobago Updates morning show, coming to you here live from the Port Mall in Scarborough, Tobago. I am Julian Skeet, and in this segment, we are happy to welcome on set with us Alan Stewart, Director of TEMA, the Tobago Emergency Management Authority. Good morning to you and welcome.
My goodness, I wish we were authority. Good morning.
Agency, my apologies.
Quite a lot more would have been done, but nevertheless, you see it into the future.
Yes, we've got to speak it. We've got to speak it into the beginning.
Certainly. Good morning to all our viewers as well, wherever you are across the world. We do appreciate
all right.
to join us.
So on your last visit, we would have been chatting, and certainly we're happy to have you again as we look at the situation in relation to updates. And before we dive straight on into the vessel itself, I have noted that some of the areas, that first area in Lambo, appears to now be open in terms of the roadways and so
Yes,
as one.
certainly.
So just give us some updates, because I know previously it would have been in Scarborough and a number of the areas were blocked off as a means of continuing to work. But I noticed that we're seeing some openings, so to speak, or the setups are no longer there. So just give us some updates on that. Let's start there.
So we are day 65, and we have seen that some high degree of progress in terms of some of the goals that would have been set. I recall that, we were promising that the roadway would have been ready for reopening. That's between Cemetery Street and Village Street in Lambo. That area over the weekend, or over the holiday, I almost said weekend, was powered wash, and we are expecting that roadway will be open for vehicular traffic. And as we move forward, we also would have seen the endpoints in terms of what we want to achieve in terms of the level of cleanliness. The contractors are being tasked in a particular way, but what is more instructive is for them to know exactly at what point do you stop, at what point, what do you mean by endpoints. For example, in the Scarborough area, which allow for a number of members of the public, especially along the Esplanade. You want that area to be have a certain amount of cleanliness, that it doesn't offend, or lend itself to hydrocarbon touching anybody's garments. If you were to go and take a picture by the I Love Tobago sign, it's done properly, and you don't come away with hydrocarbon sticking onto you. And there are other areas, for example, what is the endpoints in the Cove area? It's quite different, where you have sharp, rocky edges. Nobody is there unless a fisherman chooses to go and throw a line. Then it's a different level of cleanliness. So we have set those parameters, and we have downsized, removed certain booms that are no longer in play. We feel definitely that as we move to the south, where Cove is concerned, that there is no way that even if we have any leakages from the vessel, it will affect these areas here around Scarborough and environments, Lambo, and these areas.
All right, excellent. So we're diving straight on in now. Just as you mentioned, the main point there which is now that focus on the vessel itself. What exactly is taking place at the moment? We know that there have been some restrictions advised, particularly to those who may be in the area, the boundaries and so on. For the benefit of our viewers and listeners, what's happening in the area at the moment?
Well, you are quite correct. The salvaging of the vessel is undertaken by the Ministry of Energy and Energy Industries, and they have started their work utilizing TNT salvage. And when I say TNT, I always have to remind viewers that we are not talking about a local entity, it's an international body. That is what they do, but they happen to have the name TNT salvage. So they have beefed up their activities and brought it to a stage where we will see by Sunday, it is expected that they will start removing the contents of the vessel, and we will see that beginning on Sunday, sometime during the course of the day. The preparatory works are all in place to allow for it to do that. I would have reviewed the medical emergency plan for the area, the risk plans and things like that. We'll be reviewing those this morning to ensure that all is in place. It's going to an area of activity that has its own amount of risk associated with it. We have made the area as best as we can through the efforts of the Tobago House of Assembly, partnering with the Ministry of Energy to ensure that things are done above board to the standards set in the industry. So we expect to see, there is an expectation that there is over in excess of maybe 20,000 gallons of, or not gallons, but barrels of hydrocarbon that is still remaining in the vessel itself or the barge itself. And therefore that process of extracting it will begin as early as Sunday.
I get the sense from you that this is heading into another phase.
Correct.
But you mentioned a very key word there, always managing the risk. What are some of the potential risks? Because some would feel that, all right, it has stopped leaking, you're just about to move the vessel, but this is not kids' play, you just take it out of the water kind of thing. What are some of the potential risks at this stage that you are really hoping and anticipating it doesn't get to that kind of extreme?
Well, one, you have personnel that are operating on a wreckage that is not very stable. It's hedge on or run aground on the reef, so with very high tide, and the wave activity in that area is very violent in terms of how the waves behave. There are certain days that they have to, for safety of the workers, they have to remove themselves from it because there are risks involved into. There could be falls, there could be injuries in many different ways. You're dealing with hydrocarbon, so there is always a possibility of, let's suppose somebody has a slippage takes place where the hose that they're using causes spillage, and accidentally there is oil again in the water. And so you have those factors. You also have, it's a marine environment, and therefore the Ministry of Transport, through the division that it has a responsibility for the Marine Division, they have identified as an exclusive zone whereby there is a 500-meter radius set out around the vessel itself, the wreckage, and therefore mariners are advised not to pass between that area. There are lines that are used to, pulley lines that are used to journey the hose. It's a sort of a hose that is used, that is buoyant. So they try to make the hose that is bringing the stuff to shore. It is buoyant, so it's on the sea surface, so you could understand that vessels trying to pass between the wreckage and the shore, it poses a danger. Yes. There is also the possibility of divers in the water from time to time. You don't want a jet skier passing across there, and as a diver push up his head, you have an issue. Even though we are taking all the necessary precautions in terms of ensuring that the necessary flags and buoys and all of that, the indicators, beacon lights for the nighttime, if there is for the nighttime during periods that, mariners may choose to be coming back or coming from sea. They are advised to pass on the right side or on the southern side of the wreckage. So those stipulations are in place. The Trinidad and Tobago Coast Guard will be policing those activities to ensure, but we don't want it to reach to that where there needs to be any confrontation. So those public advisories, so I'm using this medium to advise and to tell fellow interests with marine interests to exercise due caution and pay attention to these safety advisories that are spelled out.
All right. And I want you, I'm looking for that assurance, most certainly, just as you have been advising the general public. Can we be assured the risk that you have referred to, that the relevant companies, the ministry, TMA, etc., part of the preparation work naturally is also to prepare in the event that something happens?
Yes, certainly. So a command site has been set up, so there's a command post set up there with medical facilities that will allow for if there is any injuries. There is a safety board that is established. There are OSH officers that are assigned to the entire project and to allow for that type of scrutiny. The EMA are involved as well, the IMA, and all of the major authorities on board to ensure that the extraction of what they describe as the inventory, when that is removed, or what they call a cargo of the vessel, there will be no issues. And I just want to make sure, because I heard you mention it in a particular way, the removal of the wreckage. That is a next stage. What we are doing right now is removing the cargo, or what they call the inventory. Okay. In other words, there are in excess of 20,000 barrels of hydrocarbon that is considered to be based on the estimates in the vessel, and therefore that is going to be extracted first, being brought to shore, stored in frac tanks, and then there is another process where you move it from there to the Scarborough port onto a barge. That's the plan going forward. We hope it holds. Sometimes these things are very agile, you make changes on the go, but I could say here that is the plan presented going forward. So you want to look at things like your journey management as to how do you get from there to Scarborough. Is there a possibility? Are there risks involved? If there is an accident, what can happen? If there's a spillage, so folks like the Trinidad and Tobago Fire Service, they are involved as well, so that they could be that level of response to any eventuality that may occur during this operation as we take it to the next stage.
I'm happy that you clarified that, because so let's just get it clear. The focus for this next phase in terms of the exercise is more so any further content and not the actual treating just yet. And it's important to clarify that.
And in the industry, they call it inventory or cargo.
Good.
Like a cargo on board.
Yes.
The cargo is that of the contents. This cargo is really hydrocarbon.
Okay.
Yeah,
so then there will still be another phase that's right. The vessel itself. All right. Tell us, what do you anticipate? Are you able to project, along with the others involved, how long this phase may take in the process?
The first part of it may take up to 14 hours, I was told. Now, that 14 hours could stretch out into days. It all depends on the... but you're looking at measurements in terms of suction and how long it will take. There are many... the vessel itself is divided up into chambers. They take those into consideration, so you move from one chamber to the next. Just last week, just during the early part of the week, it was established that there were about 6 to 7 holes that were breached already. And when I say breached, they make the opening from as you know, the ship has capsized.
Yes.
So you have to get into those tanks, get in from the hull into it, and then making other holes, openings in order to get to the tank itself. So that process takes time. It takes... you want to make sure, there's a balance as to how you deal with these matters. You know, there are some dynamics involved, air pressure and the pneumatics involved in dealing with pressures from one end to the next. As you breach the tanks, something can happen where the internal pressure could allow the balance to move it outwards or what you have outside could get inside. There's a possibility too that you could have a mixture of salt water or seawater breaching if there is rough seas and things like that. So it's a very delicate operation. So even though I mentioned those hours could be stretched out in terms of time, in possible days. So we are looking forward to a steady flow. We hope that the plan will work, and we am very confident based on the level of the expertise that have made themselves available. It's very interesting. Maybe I should mention this, that, there are about roughly 10 major companies in Trinidad and Tobago that are involved in the oil response business, and about 9 of them are on the island. And it speaks to the level of as I indicated some time ago, that this area of impact is very wide. It's not like, okay, a beach, just wash up on a beach. No, we are talking about 15 kilometers of space from Scarborough right down to Cano Bay, beyond that area. And those are just other phases that we will go through from time to time. We were reminded that from Petrobras that this is a long haul. It's not something that can be happen like that. Every now and again, there will be oil showing up on your beaches because there are oil that may have sunk in the sand. And as you have rough seas or high tides or inland water going out to sea, where some of these rivers are concerned, they are going to create a situation where what is below the sand will be washed up, and then you have to come up with a different plan as to how you treat with that locally. So there are discussions with other arms of the Tobago House of Assembly as we move to the closure of these endpoints with these contractors. We anticipate that there is those possibilities, and therefore the Tobago House of Assembly, within its resources, can deal with those spill. It's a matter of training, it's a matter of giving them the necessary PPEs through CPEP and other players to come on board to assist if they are clean. The beach is their domain to clean, but if they run into hydrocarbon on the beach, what to do? Do you put it with your regular garbage? No. How do you dispose of it? Things like that. What are the PPEs that are necessary for dealing with hydrocarbon? And those procedural steps are discussions that are taking place now, so that as we move from stage to stage, we manage it properly and effectively.
Certainly, and it's always good when we hear, our very own team are trying to stay ahead of things. Just as you just referenced and mentioned the fact that the after and how you now have to kind of cater for whether or not additional support, etc., would be required. It naturally took me to another question, particularly on Tuesday for Easter, in terms of the Easter activities here in Tobago. We had a little heavy in terms of the weather conditions, rainfalls, etc. And one of the things that I know the Chief Secretary spoke to is about having persons on the outside there, some not being able to come out and celebrate their Easter Monday and Easter Tuesday because they are busy at work waiting to see the possible impact of the rainfall and so on. What was the outcome coming out of that?
Yeah, well, some of the booms were dislodged. We had some interference. One of the strategies utilized is the utilization of booms in the river courses to trap whatever oils that would have gone up into the mangrove, prevent it from seeping back out into sea. So they create berms. Those berms are blockage along the river bed, and therefore they use what you call absorbent. There's a technique utilized called tilting, where you use heavy volumes of water and disturb the bottom of the rivers, so it releases the hydrocarbon. It comes up, floats to the top of the water, and then you skim it off. And then you use heavy equipment in a special way where you get it in and tilt it up. So you do this tilting, and then you are able to do some extraction. Now, that operation was disturbed. because you have major excessive rainfall that comes down the stream, washes everything, removes some of the the absorbent booms, and therefore it lends itself to repetitive work that needed to be done in cleaning up. And then you had the onset of sargassum that really caused some challenges. Still a little challenge in the areas of we have about a week more of work in the Magdalena area, and we are hoping to see that comes to some level of closure in about 7 days' time.
Excellent.
Yeah.
As we prepare to wrap this morning, what would be the message that you would want to put out there, to those in and around Tobago, those potentially wanting to come to visit the island and so on? Because, sometimes people hear and they tend to hear what they want to hear. So, Alan, and I think something might be more serious than is. What would you say now, 65 days later, versus the impact of what you had to treat with from day one?
Listen.
How would you summarize the progress?
Right now on the beach, only oil on the beaches right now is baby oil. You understand? You could go on the beach, do your tan. The beaches are white surfed and wonderful. I really want to thank the team, the level of expertise, the commitment from various levels of government was tremendous. You have seen the leadership of the Chief Secretary during this event, and the support at various levels. The Chief Administrator Office, and different arms of the Assembly came to bear. The Prime Minister came up very early, and he would have indicated, this is a national emergency, and therefore that was demonstrated by the Ministry of Energy and other players, Heritage. A number of different major players came out of the government, national government, and really put the effort behind this thing. International bodies coming. So I want to give all the assurance that we are in a good place, that Tobago is ready for. We have demonstrated it where we didn't disturb the carnival. The carnival went on. The last fisherman fete, I promised David, I said, David, you'll get back your strip, So I believe you have something for me now. Yes. Certainly, because I was able to fulfill that promise, in the sense that, I am very happy for the work that went in. The volunteers, the banks, the various volunteers that came to the table, I just want to say thank you very much. I mean, this may not be the right medium to do so, but every breath that you have, you must be able to recognize the benignity that has been thrown into this. And that level of benevolence, it must be recognized somewhere along the way. This morning a thought came to me. I said, what we were walking away from this event is real experience on the island. Young men who, some of them don't even have a bank account. We have to pay them by cash, whoever is doing the payment. And what you have is trained persons on the island who know how to handle oil spill. And that we now need to harness that talent, that skill set, and probably even give them something for recognition. So maybe the thought is some sort of a certification, because they are skilled at it. They know how to remove oil from the shoreline. It's not just digging. It's a matter of scraping. It's not just, when I use terms like tilling and those talk about inventory, they know the language. They understand the process. They understand how to remove a glove. What it is when you're in a Tyrex suit and you want to do some ablution or something like that. The procedural step is like a medical doctor. Dealing with that level of waste is something else, and the procedure. So I'm very grateful, showing balance to it, the people who were involved, and also bringing back the space to some level of normalcy. And so life could continue. Our schools can be reopened effectively. We lend some real energy to those activities to ensure that not one day was the ferry service shut down. Early o'clock, Mr. Caseman indicated that, Mr. Stewart, the ferry cannot be oiled. In no way it cannot be oiled. We were able to boom it off. By Friday we had it boomed off. Friday, yes. Thursday. By Thursday, thing happened on Wednesday. By Thursday night, just around midnight, it was completed. You know, and it means building. We have to build resilience going forward.
You've touched on the final area I want to deal with, which is looking at that future prospect for Tima. But we've got to take a quick break, viewers. So we want to remind you, and we're going to be back, but we want to remind you that this is your opportunity to share the live, share the live, share the live.
Everyone, it's your Harry here from Authentic Car Clinic, located right here in Tobago at Storby Local Road. You can WhatsApp us or call us at 366-4173.
Scrub Ties brings to you our organic fat dissolving shots. Yes, guys, our lemon butter shot breaks down stubborn fat, tightens any loose skin while increasing your metabolism. No side effects, no downtime. We also offer cavitation, cellulite treatment, butt, breast, hip dip fillers, weight loss, fertility IVs, and much more. Contact us on 495-6624 or follow us on Instagram at Scrub Ties Body Contouring. Deltec Distributors, best deal. 3 pounds pork, goat, chicken, turkey, beef, 5 meats, 3 pounds each, $300. Best deal. Or you could try 5 pounds pork, goat, chicken, turkey, beef, 5 meats, 5 pounds each, $500. Best deal. $20 delivery. Call me now. 359-5040 or 237-0102. Order online at www.deltecdistributors.com or check with us. Mainwood, Argyle, Tobago. Deltec Distributors, best deal.
My name is Kama Mirage. As a lifelong entrepreneur, I often share the benefit of my experience with our young innovators and small businesses. Just as I strive to guide others, our Constitution must also foster an environment for citizens to thrive. This begins with education catering to diverse learning styles and extends to establishing frameworks that support new enterprise. But are we doing enough? Constitutional reform needs your input by 15 April at constitutionalreform2024.gov.tt. It's your future, your constitution, your voice.
No place like home, home, home.
Oh, I love Tobago, baby.
When we outside, it's an ocean of love. All that we align to the stars up above. Let we dance now, take a chance now with me. And we go jump till morning. Look, the moon gone sleeping. Tell them we not leaving. Till the last drop of bacchanal is madness in the capital. So I feel like I run in town again. Jump and shake the ground again. We with all my friends and them. No place like home. 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 We go jump till the moon come down. It's we who the stars shine on. Play a mass and break away. Freedom in with DNA.
Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning.
Good morning, viewers, and welcome back to the Tobago Updates morning show, coming to you here live from the Port Mall in Scarborough, Tobago. We continue the conversation this morning with Alan Stewart, Director for TEMA, and we were just at that point in relation to the updates where we were speaking to that kind of future prospect, because notwithstanding treating with the severity of this situation, TEMA also has that greater responsibility. We're in the it's the rainy season, we're in the hurricane season, in terms of preparing simultaneously for any kinds of eventuality.
Exactly.
Tell us a little bit about, in terms of the future prospects as we head into to those periods.
As we transition, it's important that we continue to keep our eyes on what next. But in doing so, what next involve also the possibility of a repeat of what we experience. There are lessons learned and there are lessons to be learned. One of which that we have to do the adaptation to allow for us to build resilience on the island. Building resilience is moving towards capacity, having the capacity to manage effectively. One of the things that we recognized that plagued this operation was that of logistics, to move equipment from Port of Spain to Tobago. And most of these, it happened at a time when it was like Carnival. A lot of people don't keep that in mind. When work is like, you know the tune, right? You're telling the boss, you're working today, I'm feeling sick, I can't see myself going to work. And we saw that demonstrated throughout the event itself, where it was Carnival, the Wednesday before Carnival, and therefore you saw a serious response taking place after. For example, the Cabo Star sailed the Wednesday after Carnival, and a number of the heavy equipment that we now see or saw on the island started coming from the Wednesday. And so as I talk about capacity, it is imperative that we look at our stocks. A lot of it has been used up. We learned the type of booms that we need to procure in terms of the risk factors as it relates to oil spill is basically on the Atlantic. While we know that it is very sensitive on the Caribbean side, if it happens there, all hell break loose. But we know for defense, we have to manage the Atlantic. The Atlantic Ocean, the energy of currents and things like that, we have learned that even the booms, we have to look at the diameters in terms of the sizing. So we are talking about anything in excess of 40 inch in diameter up to 50 inches. That's the type of booms that we will see us moving towards. And the footage, we only had 1,600 feet of boom. The Scarborough Port alone ate that up based on the arrangements that we had. We had a sort of a MOU coming out from BHP Billiton that went on to Woodsides, who took over from BHP Billiton. And it was the first time that company was tested, and we had to go through a lot of red tape in order to... So while I don't want to use this as the opportunity to do the after-action review, but as you asked the question, capacity building is where we have to go next. We are going into the hurricane season. We have to start preparing now. A number of our resources would have been eaten up in this exercise, and therefore it's critical, especially with the legislation as it relates to the OPR, that will be a testing point in the sense that how utilizing those mechanisms, how quickly can the system of governance allow for us to procure these needed or resources that have been, or replenish our stocks going forward. Some of the same things that you use have to be replenished, in terms of those items, tarpaulins, things like that have been used for creating decon stations and things like that. They have been all used up, and we have to replenish that in preparation for the upcoming hurricane season. So we have our work cut out. Julian.
So you have no choice because that gets going, the hurricane season, that's from June.
Yes, the 1st of June.
Yeah, from the 1st of June. And similarly, of course, depending on the areas you live, heading into the rainy season as well.
Yeah.
Also in the latter, going in, I think just around June also, or sometime there for the reality that these things affect us in the Tobago space. I have a quick question coming in here from a viewer. What about the Lambo cleanup? We need to know if we can do rock fishing again.
Yes.
So this
yes.
is certainly a viewer wanting to know if they can do rock fishing again.
And I must tell the viewer that, they say out of evil cometh good. That there's an area in Lambo that the Tobago community go and fish, where they throw their lines. And we spend some time, there's what you call an endpoint survey team committee that has been set up. And when we reviewed that area about 2 weeks ago, there was suggestion by, the Division of the Environment that we can surface the area in a particular way. There is this, what you call, high volume flushing of these areas where you just try to get away the hydrocarbon and so you flush the rocks and you leave it for what you call weathering, where the sun takes care of the balance. And so there is a layer just outside the old fishing depot, that layer of boom that was set up by the Tobago House of Assembly, that was heavily tarred with hydrocarbon. And how do you clean it? And there are discussions as to, we recognize that fisher folks go there and fish, so they could see there are recommendations going forward for that area to be covered, backed either by, but covered in such a way that it will be improved for fishing. Instead of walking on the jagged rocks, it creates, whether it's you use the top bitumen and make sure that it's surfaced in a particular way where you could exercise on it, you could, sit on it with a beach chair and do your fishing. So those are some of the consideration, but that is outside of the emergency. That is more under the project phase going forward. I did mention, probably I should repeat it here, that there is a project management team that is in place, and I believe they will look at some of these things going forward as to how you could improve the areas and as you bring them back to normalcy.
All right. Thank you very much, there. We got to leave it there for this morning. Thank you very much again,
Pleasure
Alan, Director for TEMA, joining us here on set to bring us those updates and certainly keeping us in the know with the happenings. Folks, please comply. Particularly, they're asking that we remain, what is it? It's a 500.
Yeah.
Yes, certainly. Please ensure that we comply as required to allow the professionals and the relevant, groupings to get their work done in the circumstances. And at this point, as we head on out of break, we want to remind you that this is your opportunity to share the live, share the live, share the live.
Life is good with Zero. Zero interest for 6 months. Zero down payments. Zero stress payment plan. That's right. With Standards My Terms, we are putting the power of zero in your hands. Now, you can get that new sectional, fridge, stove, or TV for zero down. Pay zero interest later and enjoy a zero stress payment plan plus quick approval within 48 hours. Standards, never beaten on quality and prices.
MI4 Security Services Company is the most advanced security service in Tobago. Ask about our cash and transit service. It's safe, risk-free, reliable, and timely. We provide safe banking delivery for all business types and sizes with highly trained staff, 24/7 monitoring, coordinated emergency response, and a well-maintained fleet of armored vehicles. Contact us at 660-7723 or visit our website at www.mi4securitytt.com to sign up today.
Tech, we bring technology to your doorstep. From cutting-edge laptops to reliable printers, we've got it all. Nationwide delivery and a new website for easy online ordering. JK Tech is your one-stop shop for your electronics and computer needs, carrying top brands such as Acer, Samsung, HP, and much more. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram at JKTechTT or visit jktechtt.com. Quality tech is just a click away. JK Tech. Evaluate your shopping experience, your tech, your way. Call or WhatsApp 383-2651. Shop smart, shop JK Tech.
Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning.
Welcome back to the morning show on Tobago Updates Television. I am Adana Kambi, and I want to say thank you so much for staying with us even up until this point. I want to remind us viewers this morning, just take a moment to think about your current situation. If you know someone who needs help, where domestic violence is concerned, we spoke about it earlier in our introduction to the show this morning, and we're just urging you, if you need help, if at all you think you are in a situation that is overwhelming, a situation that is bigger than you are, there is help out there for you, there is support out there for you. Do not hesitate to access any type of help that is available. It can save your life. If you are in a situation where you are being abused, whether it is physically, verbally, or mentally, please seek the necessary help. If you know of someone who's been abused and they are afraid to speak up, be their advocate and report such abuse to the relevant authorities. There are so many agencies out there who will provide support for persons who are living these types of lives. And we want everybody to live comfortably and at peace in our spaces in Trinidad and Tobago. We are tired of hearing about domestic disputes that end tragically, especially where children are concerned. And not just children, men and women alike also suffer so many types of abuse. And this morning, the team here at Tobago Updates Television, we want to join with the wider communities of Trinidad and Tobago and to advocate for peace in our homes. And as I mentioned before, if you are in a situation that leads to that, or even see red flags or any signs of someone being abusive to you, please reach out for help. There are so many different agencies that will help you. Speak to someone, whether it's a guidance counselor at school, whether it is your employees support program at work, wherever you are, colleague, a friend, someone. If you speak to someone, then maybe they might get the information out there and give you the necessary help and support that you need. We care about you, and we want everyone to live a life that is comfortable and peaceful. So do not suffer in silence, because sometimes it can end with you being silent for eternity. So let us reach out for the help that is available. Let us talk to each other. Do not be afraid or ashamed to speak your truth. Your truth can help save your life or the life of someone else. So please reach out, call somebody, tell somebody, speak to someone, save your life, save the life of your child or the life of someone you know and love. Let us keep Trinidad and Tobago free from domestic violence, and let us provide support for those who are the perpetrators, because sometimes they too need some measure of support. Let us report what we see so that we can help each other and live lives that is comfortable and peaceful here in Trinidad and Tobago. Thank you, viewers, so much for staying with us. We have come to the end of the morning show on Tobago Updates Television, and we're always so happy that you choose us and that you stay with us as we bring information to you with things relating to and around Tobago. We will see you again tomorrow morning, but we don't end our programming here. We continue on with Tobago Notes and then on to GMT with Candice Jackson. So stay with us, and while you stay with us, we ask you to share the live, share the live, share the live.
honored and so very pleased to be here in Tobago. This office here in Tobago marks a momentous milestone in the ongoing efforts of the Procurement Board, the management, and the staff of the OPR to ensure that we fulfill the tremendous responsibility that has been entrusted to us, that of ensuring the integrity of public procurement activities and ultimately securing the public interests.
To better serve the island of Tobago, an Office of Procurement Regulation is here, up and running. One might ask, what's the importance of having this office? Having a well-regulated procurement system helps to promote fair competition among suppliers and contractors.
And what this building will represent for us in Tobago will be essentially a facility where central government services that ought to be delivered or performed in Tobago are housed under one roof so that Tobagonians will have easier access to these services.
In the ensuing months, technical teams from Port of Spain will be assigned on a periodic basis to support the operations of the Tobago office in the execution of a planned program of capacity building and technical assistance activities. So I would urge all the divisions of the THE to grasp these opportunities.
The OPR office is located in Crown Point at the Coliseum building.
That was a production of the Department of Information, Office of the Chief Secretary, Tobago House of Assembly.
Updates, your source for current affairs in Tobago, Trinidad, and the region. With the perfect conversations to complement your morning routine, I am Candice Jackson, and let's get started with the news in 90 seconds.
News in 90 seconds is brought to you by Standards, never beaten on quality and prices.
Chief Secretary Fali Augustin condemned the ongoing conflict in the Middle East and called for a ceasefire. He was speaking at yesterday's Eid al-Fitr celebrations. He also urged the Muslim community to actively engage in political discourse for the island's advancement. Meanwhile, Minority Leader Calvin Morris echoed Augustin's sentiments, highlighting the importance of spiritual consciousness in addressing societal challenges like crime. Additionally, Senator Lawrence Hislop stressed the importance of brotherhood and respect among Trinidad and Tobago's diverse religious groups, praising the country's acceptance for one another. Up next, Finance Minister Com Imbert announced the signing of the simplified procurement regulations into law, effective April 5th, 2024. These regulations, applicable to procurements valued up to $1 million, aim to streamline procurement processes while upholding the objectives of the Public Procurement and Disposal of Public Property Act, published as Legal Notice Number 65 of 2024, which followed months of collaboration between the Finance Minister and the Office of the Procurement Regulation, the OPR. The regulations introduce streamlined processes for both public bodies and suppliers, covering micro-procurements and small-scale procurements. And finally, the Children's Authority of Trinidad and Tobago expressed deep sorrow over the tragic murder of 4-year-old Amara Lalit, condemning the domestic violence as a pervasive issue affecting families throughout the nation. Director and Chief Executive Officer Sheldon Cyrus emphasized the need to recognize children as individuals deserving of care and protection, not tools of manipulation. He urged victims of domestic violence to seek help and encourage others to report such incidents. Cyrus reiterated the importance of addressing domestic violence to prevent harm to children, urging parents and caregivers to seek support during challenging times. And that was the news in 90 seconds.
Life is good with Zero. Zero interest for 6 months. Zero down payments. Zero stress payment plan. That's right. With Standards My Terms, we are putting the power of zero in your hands. Now, you can get that new sectional, fridge, stove, or TV for zero down. Pay zero interest later and enjoy a zero stress payment plan plus quick approval within 48 hours. Standards. Never beaten on quality and price.
And welcome back to Good Morning Tobago. Viewers, we've had quite an exciting cruise ship season this year with over 70 cruise ship calls to destination, and it has brought in quite a lot of activity on the island and so on, and it has been welcomed certainly by the maxi taxi drivers. And just to give us an idea, because we're coming to the end of this year's or this season, I should say, the end of this season's cruise ship and arrivals, and I think the last one is coming pretty soon. This weekend maybe, but for that, just to give us an idea of how things been going and whether or not it has really been successful, I am being joined by Mr. Cloyd Williams, and he's the president of the Tobago Maxi Taxi Drivers and Owners Association. So welcome and good morning to you, Mr. Williams. How are you doing?
I'm fine, and thanks for having me.
So today, we had a bumpy start to the cruise ship season, but thankfully that was only just at the start. And how did the rest of the season go?
All right. Well, I'm happy to report that it was really a good season. We had a bumpy start, as you said, but it ended up well, or it's ending well. We had our challenges, but we were able to maneuver the challenges that we face, We have over 70 cruise ships in the island, and just about 2 or 4 cancellations. And this coming weekend, it's going to be the last ship, actually. The last ship for Scarborough, but then we have about another 3 for Charlottesville. So the season was pretty good, all right? And we had our challenges, as I said, and we were able to master them. You remember that incident on November 11th where we had a shortage of maxi taxi or transportation. I'm happy to report that we averted the crisis. We met with the Chief Secretary of the Tobago House of Assembly and the Secretary for Tourism, and we were able to source buses, maxi taxis, and so on. So actually, we had a great season.
So how did it work? The additional buses that you were able to get from the THE, just give me an idea how they were able to fit into your schedules and so on, and how they would be able to be utilized.
All right, they fit in very nicely as though they are accustomed to that kind of operation. We have the white buses from the Tobago House of Assembly. Then we have the PTSC buses. They would operate especially where we have the shortage. The Tobago House of Assembly, through the Chief Secretary, Farley Augustine, was able to send a few buses, and the Secretary for Tourism. So there were no more fall short, so on. And let me just say that we have been reaching out to the Ministry of Works and Transport and the Transport Commissioner for more buses for Tobago, more maxi taxis for Tobago. There is a shortage of maxi taxis in Tobago. I would have sent letters to the Ministry of Transport and the Transport Commissioner requesting at least about 20 more buses for Tobago, because we have a fleet of buses under 100. And if these buses have to service the school, special tours, the cruise ship, the fast ferry, of course, there's a shortage. And I've been reaching out to them for quite a while, asking for more buses. And it took me to send a pre-action protocol letter to the Ministry of Transport for additional buses. And they acceded to it now. They put it out on the papers and they make it open so that those guys who really are waiting for buses and want a maxi taxi ride can now apply to the ministry for more maxi taxi.
So how many the licenses or what's it called, the registration, how many of that is going to be made available to Tobago additionally?
Well, I'm not sure of the amount.
Okay.
I would have asked for 25. Once we get 25 large buses, we are free to go, all right? So I'm not sure. It's going to be a process where they interview you, and if you pass the interview, you will be granted a permit.
And what's the deadline to apply?
It's gone already.
Oh, it's gone already.
Since last week. There was a closed box at the license office. You place the application, they understand that the box gone down to Trinidad, and so I'm not sure what is going on right now. But I'm going to be calling them from I leave the station to find out what is going on with that. Once we can do that, once they can grant the passes, when they grant the maxi taxi rides to Tobago, well, we'll be happy.
And then, of course, by the time the next cruise ship season starts in October, November, we'll be fine.
We'll be fine. And the cruise ship or tourism is one of the fastest growing industry in the world. It's growing fast, and it's also fragile, and we need to take care of it, you know. So I'm hoping that this can happen. Even right now in Jamaica, for the first 24 months, they will be earning more than $1 billion US, all right? And I'm hoping that the Tobago House of Assembly, along with all the stakeholders, can fall into gap, right, where we make tourism more personal. All right, where it can be more lucrative. The Tobago House of Assembly, I'm asking them to be more involved, personally involved. I know they're involved in promotion, in music, in dancing, and so on. But the actual arrivals of the guests or the ships, I would really like them to be more personal, more involved. We thought of asking them to give the blessings to the association where we can bring in our own cruise ships, you know what I mean? Because we have problems with some of the agents, and I'm saying that once we get in more involved, that's the stakeholders, the association, the reef boat operators, and so on, I think it will spell good for this little island of Tobago.
Well, I wanted to just talk a little bit about just the overall experience that our cruise ship visitors had. And of course, you would have transported quite a lot of them pretty much every time that there was a cruise ship in harbor. Yeah. So give me an idea of what's been the feedback. So because, I mean, there's a lot of work that needs to be done in Tobago for our tourism to really rise to the level that it should be.
And that's a loaded question. And there's a lot of work to be done in terms of the sites, the buses, the beaches, and so on. But the experience has been great because I've been taking the guests from one point, from Scarborough to Rainforest to Boca Reef, Nyland Pool, and so on. And they're enjoying Tobago. Tobago is basic tourism, you know, and we need to grab at it, you know. So the experience has been great, and they rather, even compared to other islands, maybe Barbados and even Trinidad, they rather Tobago.
Why is that? Like, what are the reasons why they rather Tobago above the rest?
All right, Tobago is like a piece of heaven. You know, when you look at the layout of Tobago, it's very different from the other countries, you know what I mean? You go to the fort and you look at that whole area of Scarborough, you overlook Scarborough, right? For example, even the Boca Reef, right? It's not, you don't have a reef in all over the world, you know, Boca Reef is special, you know what I mean, the Nyland Pool, you know, so the whole of Tobago sends a message to the world, you know what I mean, and I think we need to embrace Tobago. We need to embrace this little space, you know, make it the greatest island in the world, you know, and sometimes somebody say we don't know what we have. Tobago is very special. Yes, and just recently I was carrying some Jamaican American, let's put it that way, and they went to Trinidad the day before, and I asked them to compare Trinidad and Tobago. He said, man, I don't know what down there. Tobago is the place for us, and they feel very special. And apart from that, we have something to offer. We have like our food, we have the music, the dancing, the culture. The people are friendly in Tobago, it's welcoming. When the cruise ship come, they will have a cultural show, and the tourists will join with the local dancing and singing and having a great time. So we really have something special in Tobago that we need to cherish.
What are some of those low-hanging fruits you think that we can grab at in terms of being able to make our tourism product better?
There's so many things that we can grab at, you know, and as I mentioned, like the local food. Of course, we need to improve. We must improve our product. You know, I mean, there's room for improvement, you know. Even with the buses, you need to improve the buses, the local food, the dancing, the sites. And one of the things I want to talk about is the sites, you know what I mean? I think that even Pigeon Point, whether Pigeon Point can be like a day for the tourists. Because we normally have Jazz Festival in Pigeon Point, whether you can set up your tents in Pigeon Point. So today we know we have a big ship is coming. Why not make Pigeon Point the day for the cruise ship? You know what I mean? Where we have our cultural activity, where people bathe, they come back, listen to the culture, eat the local food, and that kind of thing. So all these are things that we need to tap in on. And these are some of the ideas that I will have to carry to the Tobago House of Assembly and the Secretary for Tourism.
What are some more of the ideas that you have?
Actually, I would like to see tourism become localized. In other words, you can meet the local people into the village. You go into Lescato or Bethel or somewhere, and where these tourists interact with the locals. Maybe in a comedy center, maybe in the garden, and that kind of thing. It become localized, it become part of you and part of the tourists. It's an experience that they will never forget. You know?
And then also, I mean, as you've been transporting these visitors and so on, and even when you had to deal with the oil spill a couple months ago, you know, what was some of the feedback that you got from them?
And ironically, some of these people wanted to see the oil spill.
Wow.
You know, of course, they asked, Mr. Williams, can you take us and let us see the oil spill? But they can only see the scars of the oil spill, and they will take pictures, and they were so interested, you know. And we were cautioned by somebody, don't pass them by the oil spill, and they wanted to pass there, and we passed them down to Petitru, down to Lambo. They saw the oil, the rocks were black and so on, and they were very, very excited about it, you know. So out of evil cometh good, so to speak.
That's just very interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, and then, you know, just them being able to see the efforts and stuff like that, what were their reactions to it?
Was marvelous. And to see these guys in their white suit and in the oil, in the water, sopping up the oil and so on, it was just exciting for them, you know what I mean? And sometimes you wonder how they were doing it. If you was in that situation, what you would have done, you know, and they were very much amazed. They wish that they could, they take pictures and they wish that they could have gave them a tip and that kind of thing. So it was very, very exciting for them.
So what did that experience do, tell you though, as somebody who has just been around for so long, about, you know, what visitors are interested in?
Surprising that we are living here and some of the things that we are interested in, or we are not interested in, the visitors are interested in, right? They look at people walking on the road, using the walker, you know what I mean, paving the road, cleaning the oil, you know what I mean, and they are very much interested in some of these things, running the goats, and that's something I want to mention to you. And I have just an advertisement here for, and I think it's something that the tour agent should include in some of these stores. Now in Buko, you have the goat race, and some of the guys are there with the goat and number, and they give a display of, and I think the tour agent should really include this in the agenda. Get into Buko, the integrated facilities, and have a look of the crab race and the goat race, right? I have the flyers, and the guys are promoting it, and it creates a lot of interest. And it's very beautiful. Sometimes the guests themselves will take the goat and run with it. You know what I mean? It's very, very exciting. I think it's something that we need to promote in our skills, skill.
And then what about in terms of just even some of our people, our business community and so on? Do you think that, I mean, are you seeing any improvements? Because we've heard a lot of times our customer service is not always the best. Do you think that there's been any sort of change just over the last few months or is there anything that you could point to that's hopefully going in a positive direction?
And you raise a very interesting point there. I think our customer service need to improve. All right, and it's not only for tourism, but
Just generally.
in the government office, in the THA offices. You know, I mean, sometimes you get into some of these office people, they wouldn't look at you there on laptop with their long nails, can't even type properly, and that kind of thing. And that sends a lot. It's international. You know, I mean, you know, when you interact with people in a timely way, in a friendly way, in a mannerly way, you know, you attract them, you know, you send a message to the world. And I think we have a lot of work to do in terms of our customer service.
And then overall, you know, how would you summarize this whole experience this year?
Fantastically great. It was marvelous, you know, and to know that we were able to stand the tide, meet our quotation, interact with the people, show them a piece of Tobago, a piece of paradise, you know, I mean, hearing a lot of something from their country, whether it be Germany, from London, from Italy, it was just marvelous. And something I'm enjoying for quite a number of years, and I plan to go on as long as I could.
And you had quite a lot of it this year.
30, 25, 40 ships, but now we are having over 70 ships coming to Tobago. And I believe the 2024, 20...
Being on with us and viewers, so don't go anywhere. We'll be back rest after this.
It's a brand new morning, rise up to a brand new dawning. As the passion start to rise, the energy fill the skies. I say thanks for favor to wake up and...
Hello everyone, it's your boy Harry here from Authentic Car Clinic, located right here in Tobago at Tobago Local Road. You can WhatsApp us or call us at 366-4173.
You can now get whatever you need whenever you need it anywhere in Tobago with Tobago. Your meals, medication, groceries, and shopping all delivered directly to you. No more hassle, no more stress. Get the Tobago app today on Google Play or Apple App Store.
That's TAPPOGO and let us deliver to you.
Check our website at www.tapogo.app or call the experts at 494-TOGO and 484-4746. Tobago. Relax. We will get it to you. Tobago's at your service.
Fellow citizens, I am Rajiv Dipti. In my business, I meet people from all walks of life. I hear their stories, from struggles to successes. The supreme law of our country that safeguards our individual rights and freedoms as we go about our daily lives is the Constitution. It was amended back in 1976. But life is different now. The Constitution can be altered through legislative reforms. So please submit your recommendations to constitutionalreform2024.gov.tt by the 15th of April. It's your future, your Constitution, your voice.
This is how it's gonna go. They better look up below, 'cause this is your show, and everybody's gonna know. Say it to them once again. They better look up below. This is your show, and everybody's gonna know. That's how it's gonna go. They better look up below, 'cause this is your show.
At JK Tech, we bring technology to your doorstep. From cutting-edge laptops to reliable printers, we've got it all. Nationwide delivery and a new website for easy online ordering. JK Tech is your one-stop shop for your electronics and computer needs, carrying top brands such as Acer, Samsung, HP, and much more. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram at JKTechTT or visit jktechtt.com. Quality tech is just a click away. JK Tech. Evaluate your shopping experience, your tech, your way. Call or WhatsApp 383-2651. Shop smart, shop JK Tech.
Scrub Ties brings to you our organic fat dissolving shots. Yes, guys, our lemon butter shot breaks down stubborn fat, tightens any loose skin while increasing your metabolism. No side effects, no downtime. We also offer cavitation, cellulite treatment, butt, breast, hip dip fillers, weight loss, fertility IVs, and much more. Contact us on 495-6624 or follow us on Instagram at Scrub Ties Body Contouring.
Good Morning Tobago on Tobago Updates. Viewers, now we are switching gears to our rainforest. I mean, you know that we have the oldest rainforest, protected rainforest in the Western Hemisphere. And, you know, there's an interesting fact about that rainforest. One of the reasons why it was protected, it was designated, was so that we can have water throughout the year, because we know that during the dry season, water can be a challenge. But back then, the powers that be decided that, listen, if we are to make sure we can have water throughout, let's make sure we have a rainforest. So, just to talk to us a little bit about that, and even just that our anniversary coming up very soon, because on the 13th, it is the day that marks the anniversary of when our when the rainforest was designated as a protected space all the way back in 1776. So, to give us an idea about what's happening there and some activities in observance of that anniversary, we are being joined by the president of the Main Ridge Nature Explorers, and that is Mr. Darlington Chance, as well as the vice president, Mr. Junior Thomas. So, good morning and welcome to both of you. How are you guys doing this morning?
Good morning, I'm
Not
fine.
Too bad. Good morning, Trinidad and Tobago. And it's a pleasure to be here.
Certainly. So first of all, I mean, tell me about Go Green celebrating 248 years as a protected forest reserve.
Well, Go Green is very important to Trinidad and Tobago because this time of the year, we know it's the dry season, and it's a part of urging people, let them know, well, when you set bushfire and all these things, you are creating more climate change, you know, more pressure on the atmosphere, right? So Go Green is something we want to stay with throughout Trinidad and Tobago, because you know we won the award already for the most greenery in the world, right? The Main Ridge Forest Reserve, right? So that is why we put it Go Green, so we can stay evergreen.
Great. And then coming up tomorrow and Saturday, we have a few activities being planned, especially as we celebrate the anniversary of our rainforest as a protected reserve space. So tell me about what's being planned. Mr. Thomas?
Okay, we'll be planned on Friday the 12th. We will be having get together of people visiting the rainforest. We'll be taking them on a tour. That's on Friday, yeah. And they will meet us up at the Main Ridge Forest Reserve. There we'll be having breakfast in the morning early, yeah. And then from there, I think I get a little mix here. Yeah.
Yeah, not too bad.
Yeah.
All right, so
I have a little mix here.
what we do on Friday morning from 7 o'clock, right? We have free tours, visiting, getting the opportunity to take a walking inside with the guide and explaining how we do our tours, teaching you the things that we show the visitors when they come, things of interest. We are hoping that we could do, we are a little late, right, in establishing this, but we still giving people the opportunity that we could come up in the morning, right, get a little breakfast, and then we go into the forest. We want to do groups by 10, because we don't want to have too much people back up for one guy to go in, right? With 10 persons, you get an opportunity to learn more, to see more, right? And it's better management, right, for your safety. Good. So we doing tours starting from 7 up to 12. After 12 o'clock, anybody come after will have to pay to get the experience, right?
Certainly. Now, and then tell me about, because both of you are tour guides and have been doing this for quite a number of years, for decades. Especially
21 years.
Mr.
I've been doing this for 21 years.
And Mr. Chance longer.
Yeah.
So, I mean, tell me about just even keeping that alive and making sure that when we take our visitors into the forest, like we teach them about the forest and that sort of thing.
Well, it's basically it's an educational tour, you know, because we need to teach the people about the flora and fauna of Tobago Main Rainforest Reserve. And besides just teaching the people, we need to teach the children, we need to teach the foreigners. So becoming a tour guide is a really good job, or it's a nice job because it's very educational, you know? Yeah.
And then tell me about your experience too over the years, Mr. Chance. I know you have a lot of stories.
Well, that is one of the reasons I'm here this morning, because we want and that is why we offer the awareness walk, because we want to let the people know the importance of our Main Ridge Forest Reserve. It's our watershed. It was protected since 1776 by the British. They knew that was something that we would have needed today, right? And since they make it a protected forest, or by law, right, Trinidad and Tobago became a twin island in 1888, right? We gained independence in 1962. It was never put by law. We are having a lot of visitors here. I don't want to say it in this way, but we meet a lot of encounter with the Germans especially, because there is a book that was made by some Germans since way in the 1970th century, about 1972, 70, around there, where at that time the place was not developed. And they made that book saying that you could walk in by yourself, right? And we're having a lot of encounter with that. We now going to have this German flight from Frankfurt, right? And they believe that they should not pay or use a guide to go in. Because we tired, I offer them, I said, I just want you to be safe and comfortable, right? So even though you don't want to pay, I'm going to go with you as a guide. We don't need a guide. And that is one of the things we don't want to happen. We must know who going in, right? Why you're going in there, what you're going in for, right? For example, we had this oil spill. And for experience, we know that there are people come here, their parents, I know that happened to 2 people. Their parents came here, and the parents died, and they said they want the ashes to go back in the rainforest. Some of them threw the ashes in the river. So it's our watershed, so you see how it could be dangerous for us, right? We are not looking at just money, but we are looking at protecting and preserving for our health.
And in that case, what about the idea of turning the forest into a sort of a national park kind of thing, where there is, let's say, like a little toll or something like that, so that is to prevent people from just going in there by themselves?
Well, what we are trying to do now, because we had discussions with our chief secretary, right, is to get a sign up. Get a sign stating that no unguided tours. And that is one of the reasons why we ask for this awareness walk right, in the communities, so the communities would know. So when they meet visitors and the visitors would ask, we want to go into the rainforest, the people would know, look, well, it's a protected area, to let them know, well, look, you have to get a guide, right? And that's the only way that we could have it in a control, so we sure what we have on our healthiness is, right? Because we also do forest check. We are part of the forest check dealing with Eric in Charlottesville, right? Where every quarterly we do a forest check to see how healthy the forest is keeping, to see the birds when they are nesting, how much nesting we have this year, how much nesting we have next year, right? So if, when we do that, that information goes to Yui and to Eric, and if they find a problem with their data collection last year, they would have a communication with us saying, well, look, last year you had more white-tailed sabreing breeding, right, than this year, right? What you think causing it, right? So these are the things that we do to make sure our forest is healthy. So when you and others come to visit, we must have a healthy forest so that you can enjoy.
Certainly. And so now, as we're wrapping up, just remind remind the viewers of just the activities that are happening tomorrow and Saturday, so that they can be a part of it.
So tomorrow we have the free tours, right, to the rainforest. Tours start at 7 in the morning and goes up to 12:30 in the afternoon, right? If you come later than that, you make up your mind to pay. And then Saturday morning, we have the awareness walk from the Main Ridge Forest Reserve, where some people who want to walk, they can walk, right? Some people who want to drive, they will drive. We're trying to get a little music track so we can keep the rhythm and keep you active while you're walking and don't study it. So that walk is through the community to let the community aware of what we have to offer, right? Or what we want, we'd like things to be, right? So from there, we walk to there and then to Castara, right? Castara is one of the fast developing tourism destinations in Tobago. So when we get there, we're gonna have a little discussion about the forest, so visitors who are there could understand what we are going about, and the people in the community would know why we are protecting it as our watershed, right? So after we meet the Castara, they will have little fun. Castara is a place always have activities, right? So you can get lunch there, right? You can get, we try to get some games, like the ring games, right? And keep people lively and a little active among the visitors in Castara after that.
All right, so viewers...
one more thing here. We make a little mistake with the contact, with the number. So the contact number is, to contact us, is 344-5431 or 318-8034. Yeah?
All right.
That's a clear idea.
Great. So viewers, there you have it, all the information that you need as we celebrate 248 years of the Main Ridge Forest being a reserve, being a protective area. And of course, we know it is the oldest protected rainforest in the Western Hemisphere, and something that we should really be proud of, and something that we should celebrate and continue to protect and continue to preserve. All right, so thank you again for being on with us. And viewers, we got to go for a quick break, but we'll be back right after this.
Thank you.
Thank you. Passion start to rise, the energy fill the sky.
Deltec Distributors, best deal. 3 pounds, pork, goat, chicken, turkey, B5 meats, 3 pounds each, $300, best deal. Or you could try 5 pounds pork, goat, chicken, turkey, B5 meats, 5 pounds each, $500, best deal. $20 delivery. Call me now, 359-5040 or 237-0102. Order online at www.deltecdistributors.com or check with Mainwood, Argyle, Tobago. Deltec Distributors, best deal.
Coconut Coconut's Cafe, the buffet restaurant that specializes in all your tasty local dishes. For breakfast and for lunch. Breakfast includes coconut bake and sada roti, served with chokers, bulgur oil, and sausages in tomato sauce. Not forgetting beef and cheese pies, shepherd's pie, macaroni pie, and rice in various styles. Meat served in a variety of flavors, garden salads, and pasta salads. All this accompanied by fruit juices, coconut water, your choice of a great combination to appease your taste buds. So call us today to order, as we are here to accommodate your busy schedules or if you are having a cooking day off.
Life is good with Zero. Zero interest for 6 months. Zero down payments. Zero stress payment plan. That's right. With Standards My Terms, we are putting the power of zero in your hands. Now, you can get that new sectional, fridge, stove, or TV for zero down. Pay zero interest later and enjoy a zero stress payment plan plus quick approval within 48 hours. Standards. Never beaten on quality and prices.
Good Morning Tobago on Tobago Updates. Viewers, thank you for staying with us. And for this part, the last part of our show this morning, we'll be chatting about some things that are happening within the political space. Now, I am being joined by political commentator Mr. Max James and, of course, former Assemblyman, as we discuss just some interesting developments. But first of all, good morning and welcome to you, Mr. James. How are you doing?
I'm doing quite fine. Good morning to you and to the viewers.
All right, great. So we heard earlier this week that that Mr. Watson Duke, the PDP political leader, is wanting to work again with Chief Secretary Fali Augustine. Of course, this is after we all witnessed the very public feud between them, and we saw the breakdown of the relationship and what led eventually to Chief Secretary and the entire Executive Council forming the TPP and you moving on away from the PDP. So give us your perspective on what we heard earlier this week and yeah.
Well, good morning again. Well, I didn't hear the statement directly, but I understand, yes, apparently he made some overtures and he wishes again to work with the Chief Secretary and the TPP. Now, I mean, the thing is that, the question that would arise is we have to look at the history and the formulation of that relationship between Watson and the Chief Secretary, Mr. Augustine and the rest of the party, and parties on both sides, because there are two parties now, how that came about. Mending offenses is always a good thing. However, there has been so much acrimony, there's so much political fallout, degradation. So the question would arise whether that is a good thing to mend offenses. What political value, that's one of the key questions, what political value there is in mending fences with the PDP or Mr. Watson Duke. He's a very, what you call a very polemical figure. And the question of trust arises. The question of whether the PDP feels that it is strong enough, the TPP, feels that it is strong enough to go without Watson. That's an important question too. And the question therein is whether the TPP has the bench strength to go without Watson. And I think the TPP has the bench strength to go without Watson. The question is what political benefit that Watson is looking for. Is he believing that the TPP will fail without him? That's another question. The TPP just ratified its constitution, and they are now set to hold elections for all the various offices according to the constitution. So therefore, the interim political leader, which is the de facto political leader, is not in a position at all to make a decision as to any accommodation with the PDP or Mr. Watson Duke. And therefore, that is a premature decision or position that Watson is at this time trying to insert himself and gain some kind of political mileage or benefit from the question he's now asking, putting it out into the public there, and saying, I've spoken to Mr. Augustine. So that even in all of those circumstances, it will be a decision for the TPP to make. And I don't think, from knowing the people in the TPP, the little that I know of them, and having been in the politics since I've been around 17, 18 years, that it will be an accommodation that makes political sense. This is fraught with danger.
Why do you think so? Let's go into the details about why.
Why it's fraught with danger?
Yes.
Well, from the public developments and the public things that were done by the PDP's political leader, one is not certain where his mind is. One is not certain, as I said before, he is very polemical. And therefore, we don't know, there's no certainty in anything that he does. He's been very quiet. Then he emerges suddenly and says, I have spoken to Mr. Augustine. Can we just take that on face value? Here you're dealing with a figure who says something today and says another thing tomorrow. And I think it's a development that is designed to derail the TPP. And there's no political value, in my opinion, of reassociating with Mr. Duke. And what would that association mean or be? What format would it take? What political framework would that take? The TPP must believe in themselves, knowing that, look, we have the bench strength. So Watson is out of the political picture as far as the TPP is concerned. But we have others on the bench. You know, it's a football metaphor. So we have others on the bench who are quite capable, more reliable than Mr. Duke, where we will not have all this acrimony. Because he is, in fact, an acrimonious person. And therefore, what should the TPP do? In my opinion, it is to ignore those overtures. They make no political sense. Let Watson go ahead with what he is doing. Mr. Duke proceeded what he has to do with his political party, develop it. I mean, he boasted to the extent that, you know, that is the party. That is the party that Tobago wants, his PDP. Is he repenting? Is he now saying, listen, I'm sorry for all the things that I've done? He's going to continue to blame Mr. Augustine. I think Mr. Augustine and the TPP have come a very long way. They are not without mistakes. They've made mistakes. I've criticized some, and that is fine. But I think that the TPP should stay the course, develop the bench strengths where they need to develop them, and show Tobagonians that, look, we are focusing like an arrow towards the mark. And that mark is the next general elections and subsequently the next Tobago House of Assembly elections. To discuss and put into the political arena, or to ask, have these political questions swirling around. I'm sure the political leader, interim political leader, can say at this stage, look, that should be a matter for the party, I think I can advise Mr. Augustine. He can say that because the questions are now arising again. And he said, listen, when my executive is formed, maybe we can deal with that question. But now all these things are designed to throw friction in the air. All these things are designed to derail purpose and focus. And I don't think the question, quite frankly, should be entertained.
Now, what about in terms of working together for putting Tobago first and so on, which was the language those are the words that Mr. Watson Duke, he said that, yes, the politics would have to work itself out and they're not sure. He's not sure how that politics would take the form if they decide to go together. But one of the things he said that there are other things that in terms of putting Tobago first, there is merit in Mr. Augustine working with Mr. Duke, and even as it is right now, even as Mr. Duke as an assemblyman and the Chief Secretary, leading the House of Assembly, what are your opinions on that?
Well, Mr. Duke is a Tobagonian first. He went down to Trinidad and tried to insert himself there. He lost very badly, as if he couldn't even see that. No. Let him demonstrate. There's two things I will ask him to do. If he wants to work with the TPP, is to dissolve the PDP and write a letter perhaps of apology to Tobago people and begin working feverishly with the TPP in the House. That would not qualify him to be political leader or deputy political leader or any office for that matter. But I think he could show some kind of camaraderie in the House by beginning to work with the TPP. That is what he should be doing. People might love him for that. But there are no guarantees. If he believes that in putting Tobago forward, and first and foremost, he should not be looking for any benefit for working for Tobago. If it comes, it comes. But at this stage, I think it's enough time has not passed for any kind of coming together again. I think the divorce is complete. It's a divorce that is absolute. I think that we have reached the absolute stage.
All right.
And any kind of revival is fraught with danger. And my personal view is that shouldn't be entertained at all whatsoever.
Okay, well, we're going to take a pause right there because we have to take a break. But because we're not done yet with Mr. James, so we'll continue these discussions when we come back after the break.
Tobago updates. Good morning, Tobago.
My name is Kama Mirage. As a lifelong entrepreneur, I often share the benefit of my experience with our young innovators and small businesses. Just as I strive to guide others, our Constitution must also foster an environment for citizens to thrive. This begins with education catering to diverse learning styles and extends to establishing frameworks that support new enterprise. But are we doing enough? Constitutional reform needs your input by 15 April at constitutionalreform2024.gov.tt. It's your future, your constitution, your voice.
Welcome back to Good Morning Tobago on Tobago Updates. Viewers, we are continuing to chat this morning with political commentator Mr. Max James and, of course, former Assemblyman, as we discuss just some of the developments that are happening within the political space, especially with the olive branch of sorts that's been extended by Mr. Duke to Mr. Fali Augustine, the Chief Secretary. Of course, we know that there was a public fallout between them and both men parted ways, but they had a meeting last Friday where Mr. Duke proposed the idea of working together. Now, you know, tell me about the TPP's chances without Mr. Duke, because Mr. Duke was of the opinion that the reason why the party won so much in the 2021 elections was because of his efforts and or him leading the charge in a way, of course, along with the rest of the team. But you know, he is saying that without him, the chances are less.
Well, he's in his right to see that, and sometimes we can be delusional. All right, and I think in this case he's delusional. The TPP must, unless the TPP is going to doubt itself. But then there's the other political question. What would the PNM say? The PNM is waiting for that political mistake, and they would lick their lips if the TPP were to lose, as we say, the socket of the brain, and go back with Mr. Duke. So it is all those things that I think that Mr. Duke, he's very smart, but not smart enough to know that he made a mistake, and there's nothing now, there's no coming back from that political mistake. But he's smart enough to throw a lot of spanner in the works. And remember, he fired Mr. Augustine and the others from the PDP. So you fire me, and then you're saying, I want to work with you at this stage. I mean, what could have happened? What could have caused Mr. Duke's own mind to say, listen, I want to work with you again? Why he believes that he's the only person that can represent Bell Garden, Delaford, and Roxborough? Are there no other sons of the soil there? Does he believe that he holds the political key to winning that seat only? He has to be delusional. But as I said, the PNM is waiting faithfully for that political mistake. And I don't think it's a mistake that the TPP should make at all. Watson, what he wants to go for Tobago East, he can do so on his own. So if he believes that he has the political strength and capital, you don't need the TPP. Just do it on your own. If you believe that you contributed and made and you gave Tobago the 14 seats, well, then go ahead, proceed. You don't need the TPP to assist you in your next political adventures, and therefore, I think he should be wrongly dismissed, and the TPP should not fall for that political gimmick at all, because if they do so and there's a falling out again, you know what Duke is going to say, but I tried. They didn't listen to me. So, or let's see what's going on. I have been trying, you know. I don't think he should be entertained at all.
What about the conversation about even self-governance? Now, in Mr. Duke's view, what we should be going after is self-determination for the island and so on. And we know that that's a challenge. We all in Tobago understand why we need it and so on, or why we need some version of it, but getting it is the challenge. And Mr. Duke is putting forth himself again, saying that because he has negotiating skills, he has what it takes for us to be able to really get that change in governance that we need for the island.
What negotiation skills Duke is talking about? He was the president of PSA. I was his consultant. He cannot even write a clause in a collective agreement. He used to go around Port of Spain with a bullhorn and interfere with the peace and quiet of Port of Spain and intimidating people. Intimidated tactics in tribunalism is a thing of the past. Yes, at one time that used to work. And if he was bright enough, and he would have understood that you have to understand what negotiations are about. And politics and trade unionism they're not the same thing. They might resemble each other, but they're not the same thing. So, but to say that he had, listen, the last collective agreement for the doctors in the TRHA, I did it. And he came and he signed it afterward. He wasn't there. He knows nothing about negotiations. Max James did it on behalf of the PSA team. And he came in afterward and signed it. Does he know how to construct a clause? Does he know even to write a clause of law or a constitutional clause? Does he understand how to write it? He doesn't know. That's not in his strength. He doesn't understand it. He signs after people have done their whole work. So to say that he has negotiating skills, he must show me and show us. And I'm putting to you, he doesn't have it. And nobody respects him. At the places where respect should come from, nobody respects Watson Duke. Mm-hmm. He's looking for political relevance, and I think it's a political gimmick where he's asking for a reassociation. And what that association take? Has he put forward any framework in terms of his view of how that reassociation should take? What he must come with his strong proposal, and don't call Mr. Farley, Augustine. Say it openly to the public. Let us hear what your plans are. But even so, because of all and who the nature of him, I would not for 1 second reassociate myself with Watson Duke politically. It must be a situation where he proceeds with his party, and the TPP proceeds with what they are set out to do based on their constitution and for the next 2 years, and to carry Tobago forward. Mr. Duke alone doesn't know about constitutional reform. Why he feels that he has the panacea for it? He thinks the people in the TPP are stupid. He has already made his decision. Let him stay in the political wilderness where he is. Mm-hmm. If he's so good about negotiations, let him call people. Does he have a following, except a few friends and relatives in Roxborough? Let's face it. What political value is to the TPP is going to have or derive from reassociating themselves with Mr. Duke to cause more political fallout and disenchantment in Tobago? I don't think we need that, and I think, quite frankly, the TPP should stay clear of that issue. Those are my views.
Now, when you look at the political climate at this point in time, coming out of that win that we saw in 2021, that 14-1 win, and looking ahead now to 2025, how do you see things going? What are you seeing? How do you see the support on the ground? Has it changed? What's been going on?
Well, there has been no seismic shift, but there have been some mistakes that can be corrected. I think they will be corrected. Mm-hmm. I myself have spoken about some of them. But that is okay. We need to have a difference of opinion sometimes. But I think that I have not seen any seismic shift at all. I think some of the secretaries are doing a tremendous amount of work. And where you have, at this stage, the PNM not supporting more money for Tobago. So I think what the political leader of the PNM here in Tobago should do, Mr. Dennis and Mr. And Kevin, what's his name again?
Morris.
Kevin Morris. They should be supporting much more money for Tobago. I think that the actions in the past month or two have not done them well, where they have been interfering almost on a daily basis with the work of Secretary Trevor James. I think it has not, doesn't bode well for the PNM, because we are seeing development. We are seeing a trust for development. We are seeing where the money is not forthcoming, and they have not said anything about it. I think they need to look to their political leader and king, that's Mr. Rowley. Look, let us send more money to Tobago. If they are going to put Tobago first, that might, in fact, do well for them. But we are not going to see that. But we are hopeful that the PNM Tobago would make a very profound statement that Tobago needs the money for its development. It can't be where you give, when the PNM was in power, all that money, and you're going to suffocate Tobago for the funds that it sorely needs for its development. And secondly, the constitution reform and the autonomy question. There was nothing preventing Mr. Rowley from pushing that thing through Parliament at the Joint Select Committee and having it. No, he has put another question in the mix, constitutional reform. But I think that where the PNM seem to be gloating over these injunctions, injunction upon injunction every day, and then you come in publicly and laugh at the fact that we have to wait for the outcome of these injunctions before we could proceed. That to me doesn't make political sense. It angers Tobagonians that you are there sitting when the daytime comes, as my mother used to say. When the day comes, that's all you're interested in, injunction or supporting an injunction. And frankly, I believe Tobagonians are fed up of that approach by the PNM, and I think they should cease and desist and to support the development of Tobago by facilitating the development and removing hindrances from the work of the Assembly, from the work of the Executive Council, and in particular the work of the Secretary for Works and Infrastructure, right? I think that it will bode them well. And but there's a lot of, I could tell them that there's a lot of public angst against what they're doing. It cannot be where you're not supporting anything. You're not, and it's just opposing for opposing's sake to a country issue, environmental issues. So I think they need to pull back and cease and desist from the interference in terms of what the Executive Council is doing. That is what I would advise, but I'm saying so publicly. Mr. Dennis, I think you need to change your approach. Mr. Morris, you need to change your approach. You all need to stop the interference or support, give the support to the developed Tobago in terms of its road infrastructure and in general. I mean, there was so much money under the PNM, under you all, and the same approach should be undertaken in giving the kind of money to the Executive Councils and in accordance with the law. For instance, we have a situation where we have the 4.03%, 6.9. Why don't you all tell Mr. Rowley and the Finance Minister that you all should in fact give to Tobago the percentage at the higher level? What is preventing you from saying so? It is better for Tobago. And I think that should be the approach going forward in respect of the PNM's political contribution. But getting back to Mr. Duke, I don't see any benefit reassociating with him. I don't know what his intentions are. He's not to be believed. It is fraught with political danger. The TPP must believe in itself, that we have the bench strength, and even if they were to lose a Roxborough seat, so be it. So be it. But that is miles down the road. And if they insert a capable person from off the bench, so to speak, and begin to work with the people in Roxborough, I think that we can surmount the Watson challenge.
All right. Well, Mr. James, that's where we're going to have to leave things this morning because we are out of time. But I want to thank you so much for giving us your perspective on these matters, and certainly some interesting times ahead.
Indeed.
All right, viewers. Well, thank you for staying with us, and I hope you have a safe and wonderful day, and we will see you again tomorrow. So bye for now.
Rise up to a brand new dawning as the passion start to rise. The energy fill the skies. I say thanks a favor to wake up and hear me neighbor. 60,000 people strong.